Welcome back to the Business Casual Podcast. I'm your host, Emily. I am also the owner of Woven Co. Boutique, so I'm a little business owner. You know the drill. Business casual. Today's topic, I'm going to be going into some business tips and tricks that I've kind of learned along the way, help some of you guys out, no matter what business you run or whatever you're doing. I feel like these can just be used in whichever way you grasp them. Okay, so we've got some little housekeeping situation deals. I don't really know. I had something off the top of my head that I should have wrote down when I sat down to film this or record this. I was like, oh, I need to mention this, but of course I can't remember it now. So I guess a huge thank you to all of you guys who share the podcast to your Instagram stories or on social media. It means so much. It's really hard starting a podcast only because it's different than a lot of other social medias, where if you have an Instagram account and you start up on Instagram, you can come across people's pages and it's just easier to get exposure. But what I'm finding with the podcast is it's kind of hard to build an audience. So if you guys do share that you're listening to the podcast on your Instagram stories, be sure to tag me at It's Emily Leah on Instagram, because I'd love to reshare it and add it to my little podcast highlight I've got going on my Instagram. Yeah, shoot, man. I had something I wanted to mention at the beginning, but I can't remember. All right, let's get into a little bit of maybe a rant. I don't know if this is a rant or me just venting. I don't know. First we need water because I feel this one's gonna go off. All right. So the holidays are creeping up. They're basically here. I mean, wait a second. It's the 16th that I'm filming this or recording this. I have to get those two straight. I always say film, but I mean record. But Thanksgiving is next week. Holy crap, that is insane. But also, I don't know about you guys. I've seen a lot of TikToks from other business owners that you're feeling in kind of a rut. I kind of feel the same way. I was talking to my fiance on the phone today about possibly rebranding Woven. I know. I wish you guys could see me right now, but I know that's shocking. It's not what you expected. I just feel like I did a podcast episode 2 episodes ago all about change, and I really needed to listen to my own advice in that podcast, and I just feel like a rebrand, revamp. I want to talk about it more in a few months once we get it all figured out, because I've learned a lot doing what I'm doing with the boutique and everything. I've definitely noticed some things, and trust me, I want to do a whole episode, honestly, probably multiple episodes about that, but I'm kind of in the early processes of a rebranding. I'm hoping to get it all up in February, but honestly, who even knows? I just feel like the holiday season, there's just so much pressure. And I don't know if it's just because it's the holiday season and, it doesn't feel very festive because of COVID, because of just everything going on in the world. It doesn't feel like the holiday season. So maybe that's it, because as a business owner in any field, whatever you're doing, the holiday season is always the craziest. But I feel like this time around, it's almost like, is it the holidays? It doesn't really feel like it's even happening. It's just kind of here. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. But I've seen a lot of TikToks that people are struggling to, and I feel for you. I feel. All right, let's jump right into, now that we got that little rant, little vent over, let's get into our favorites. So just a heads up, all of the mention in the podcast, all of our past favorites, future favorites, everything like that, I like to do these as the intro, just list a couple of my favorites, personal fave and a business fave. They will all be linked down below in my Obsessed With It link. So if you guys want to, if you can't remember what a favorite was 2 episodes ago, everything will be linked there, as well as some other just fun fashion favorites. I'm trying to get more into Instagram and outfits and building my Instagram a little bit. So side note, it'd mean a lot if you guys go over and follow me. My Instagram will be linked down below. But yeah, I have everything linked in there. I've got home decor, I've got some tech. So if you're interested in like starting your own podcast or whatever, I actually just updated it today. I linked all of my podcasting equipment and just all of that to make it easier for you guys if you want to find links to that easier. All right, business fave. Baskets. Okay, hear me out. I have this major obsession with baskets, and I will link my favorite one in the link so you can check it out. And Noah, if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you probably are, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When we first moved in together, I went on this wild, oh my gosh, shopping spree where every single time I'd go to the store, I'd come back with baskets. I don't know what it is. I really hope I'm not the only one, but I have this insane obsession with baskets. I don't know what it is, but the reason why it's a business favorite is I struggle so badly with organizing inventory. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. And I know if you guys watch Woven's TikToks, I get so many comments that are like, oh, you have such an aesthetic organization system. And I'm just like, I have had so many phases, so much trial and error. I mean, it goes on. But I just think baskets are always my favorite. They help with organizing, and these baskets are cute. So I'll link them for you guys. And I think that's enough basket talk. I think that's all I can do. Basically, I'm obsessed. So the personal favorite, I have it in my hand right now, mason jar. I know that sounds so basic. I know these favorites are kind of like, okay, duh, but no, seriously. I love mason jars. They make me drink more. I have oh my gosh, what is this one? Is it the 36 ounce? I don't know. I'll link the one down below, but I find I drink more water when I have mason jars, just because with the plastic cups, I just feel like, okay, one, I feel like the plastic cups they don't last very long, but also you can't put that much water in them. I know you know what I'm talking about. Those like plastic ones you can get at Walmart or Target, and they're like less than $1. We have those. Don't get me wrong. We have those. Those are very solid cups. We love them. But I will say mason jars are just hands down my favorite. We got them probably like, I don't know, a couple months ago. I'm not really sure when we got them, but they're our favorite, hands down. So I'll link some down below if you guys want the exact ones that I got. They were pretty affordable. I think it came in a pack of 6 or 12 or something for like $24, but they're worth it because they last. So that's a win. All right, let's jump into the main topic. I'm still kind of annoyed that I had something I wanted to mention at the beginning of this and I can't remember. So if it pops back into my head, it'll just come in a random time, but let's get into the main topic of business tips and tricks. So I feel like I have to start this out with a disclaimer. I'm not trying to pretend to be a professional or know exactly what I'm doing. Let's be real, nobody really knows what they're doing. These are just things that have worked for me over time and all of that. I've been self-employed for 4 years now. Yeah, a little while. So I've gone through different phases. I've gone on different business ventures, but in no way am I a professional. I think it's really hard to be labeled as a professional with this kind of stuff because so many things change, algorithms change, and times change. And so it's kind of just going with the flow. But these are some tips and tricks that have worked for me, but obviously they could change tomorrow. They could change a year from now, whatever. So take them as you will, and you can kind of apply these to any kind of entrepreneur, kind of business venture. I try to script the show in a way that no matter what you're doing, you can take something from this and apply it. Honestly, even if you're not a business owner, I feel like it's just life. All right, so let's jump right in. So tip number 1 or trick number 1, I don't really know how to do this format, but tip number 1 would be save money when you're starting. So when I first started, I was working a regular job and I saved up the money so I wouldn't have to take any money out. I think that's a really big thing when starting your business is the cost and the worry of, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose everything. And I know in some cases you do have to take out money for it. That's just the best way to do it. But for me, I just wanted to start out small. I think oh my gosh, I can't even remember the order that I did all of this stuff, but I resold clothing for a while. So that was like, I don't know, that was pretty affordable to do. And then I just grew it. So I am proud to say that all of my business ventures are debt-free. I'm in the positives for everything. So that's really cool. But I did that because I started out slower. Now, if you have this idea of, oh, I'm just going to go for it, I think that's awesome. I see so many businesses that do go for it and it's crazy successful. But I will say that, like, when you're first starting out, I think it adds to the mental fear that you have of, okay, like, what if I don't sell a single thing on launch day? Because really, it happens. It happens. And I'll put an example as something else if you don't own a store. I used to do photography a little bit, and it's so hard when you are putting everything you have into something. So say you announce you're doing, Christmas mini sessions or whatever, and you get no one to book. It's so hard because you take that on yourself as a, solo entrepreneur or whatever you are. You take that out on yourself. I always like to think of whenever I'm going throughout my day, I try to pretend that, like, it's not just me or me and a couple people. I try to envision it as a huge team. I try to structure my day as, all right, what would I do if 10 people were standing there watching me right now? Which sounds creepy and weird, but hear me out. I feel like I try to get more done. I try to be a little bit more mindful with my time, and I hold myself to that accountability where I pretend like I have a bunch of people that depend on me. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe that's just something that helps me, but I feel like pretending that people are watching you, or you could even put it as you have a reality television. You like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Pretend to be them. Pretend to be someone that you have a camera crew watching you. I'm pretty sure I heard someone on TikTok say something like that, but I couldn't even remember where I heard it. But it's so true. Pretend like people are watching you and you'll hold yourself to get more done. But going back to what I was saying about saving your money when you're starting, you can get caught up in so much. I mean, okay, we'll throw in photography. Camera equipment is expensive. So you can go out and buy, a $2,000 camera with a, $1,000 lens and all of this stuff. And you don't know if it's going to work out. It's scary. It's really scary putting in a bunch of money like that. Trust me, I feel you. And honestly, I feel you even to this day. Launching things sometimes for the store can be a total flop. I can launch it and not sell a single piece, and it is so frustrating. But it happens. And I think another thing that I've noticed this specifically on the small business side of TikTok. I've really noticed this is packaging. Okay. I have some pretty unpopular opinions about packaging, and especially in the realm of small business and just how insane packaging can be. I think it's really important to sit down and know your numbers, know how much everything is costing you, because at the end of the day, if you are working hours and hours every single day and not making any money, you got to figure out kind of where you can cut back, and normally packaging is where you start, because I've seen some beautiful packaging. Do not get me wrong. It is gorgeous packaging, but I'm a very numbers kind of gal. So I really look into that. I'm like, wow, that packaging costs like $5 to $10 per thing. And, the cost of the item, it's insane. But I think that's another way to kind of look at and reevaluate what you're spending your money on, is packaging, or just the cost of everything. If you're starting out, just kind of starting out small might help you, but then at the same time, it might help if you just go all in, if you have a very original idea. I think that's another thing. Okay, hear me out. If you have a super, super original idea, like say you're manufacturing an item that people need that's going to be huge, I think of the Scrub Daddy when it comes to mind. You know, that little sponge that has a smiley face on it that was on, what was it, Shark Tank or something? That's the only one that comes to mind. But say you have like an original idea like that. Maybe going all in would be good there. But say you're going to, I don't know, start a photography business. That's the only thing that's stuck in my head right now. But say you're going to start a photography business. There are wonderful cameras and lenses and equipment that you can use that are more affordable, and you can kind of upgrade as you grow. Okay, moving on to tip number 2, get a schedule down. This is really, really important, and I did a whole episode last week on breaking down my week schedule. So if you missed that, I really recommend going and watching that, because I added in a bunch of tips that will probably help you if you're listening to this. So because of COVID, a lot of people are working from home, and it's hard. I used to think when I was younger, be like, oh, work from home, it's so easy, it's so nice. But honestly, it's really hard. Time management when you're at home is really, really hard. And holding yourself accountable to be wise with your time is something that's really, really difficult. I mean, for example, today, this is so embarrassing. For example, today, I went grocery shopping this morning, and oh my gosh, it was a disaster. I went to one grocery store, they didn't have what I needed, so I had to go to another one, and then I came home and I did my meal prepping for the week. It was like 12:30, 12 o'clock before I even sat down to start work, which is crazy, but it happens. And so trying to get a good schedule down is really, really important. Oh, and I wanted to throw in today when I went to the grocery store, had a whole off day. It was because I didn't stick to my little morning routine of getting ready, going to get coffee, and then coming back and getting work done, and then going out shopping. I think it's just super important to have a really good routine. That's how I run. That's how humans run. It helps a lot. So yeah, no matter how small it is, even if it is literally just getting ready and going and getting coffee or making your coffee, it really can shape your whole day and how much you're going to get done, and also the way your mind works. It's Really, really important. So tip number 2 was to get a schedule down, no matter how small it is, especially when you're working from home and self-employed and you do have that Netflix ready to go. You do have the YouTube ready to go. You do have all of these distractions, cleaning, life. It's really important to make sure you're focusing on your work and getting in the mindset of just zoning all of that stuff out and realizing that that stuff can wait till after you're done working. Okay, we need a water break. All right, tip number 3. This is, oh my gosh, if I could emphasize this so much, don't decide to quit because of a bad day. Bad days happen. Okay, even bad months. I'm gonna be real. Even bad months, slow months. Maybe you're going days without making a sale. I'm gonna be completely real. My first month that we opened Woven, I had, I think, 1 sale. And mind you, we opened up in the middle of a month, but we had 1 sale and it was for, I think, $24. Yeah. It happens. You have slow times, you have really good months. It's different. You're constantly having to adjust what you're doing to take a next step forward, and that can be scary. That can be really, really scary. I'm going to throw it back to what I was telling you guys about how I'm planning on doing a whole rebranding for the store, and I'm nervous about it. I'm really scared. I'm excited. But I'm also scared. Whenever you jump and do something different, it is really, really scary. But don't let having a bad day decide the future of your business. I don't know about you. I don't know anything about you. I wish I could, but I don't know. For me, I notice I have different weeks where it's like I kind of do it in cycles. So I don't know if it goes with like your body or anything. I think I've read a little bit that it does go, that you have, if you're a woman, you have a creative week, you have a down week, you have a really smart week, something like that. I really recommend looking into it. I'm going to look into it after I'm done with this podcast. But I think learning the way that your month is shaped is huge. Like, I know there's 1 week out of my month or whatever that I just batch content. I do so much. And I know I talked about my weekly schedule that I batch content like twice a week normally, but that week I normally will batch as much as possible and create and brainstorm, and I come up with my best ideas then. So learning your work cycle is really, really important. Okay, this is another thing. Since I'm talking about, rebranding, refreshing, coming up with new ideas, and I know during the holiday season, it's kind of scary to come up with new ideas. And for me personally, I don't plan on doing anything until, late January, February, that type of time. But I like to think about things for a couple months before I do them physically. What I have noticed in the past for me is spur of the moment, I'm going to just go do this right now, normally aren't sustainable. I like to think about things for a while and come back to it a couple times a week and be like, all right, how do I feel? Does this like spark happiness, or am I kind of dreading it already? And I think if you can hold on to an idea for a little while and it still sparks the same happiness, if not more, then it's something to go with. But I think doing the spur of the moment ideas, while it works for some, it has never worked for me. And I like to think about things through and through over and over again. Another thing that I kind of want to go off of, and I know this is kind of contradicting to what I just said, but at the same time, hear me out. So I like to think about things for a couple months, but I'm also a perfectionist, and it's taken a lot of rewiring, and I'm still not to the way that I want to be yet, of understanding that it's better done than perfect. I don't know the exact saying, but I'm sure you get what I'm getting at. I'd rather have it done than for it to be completely perfect and take me a long time. I'd rather it just be out and then we can just upgrade and perfect it from there. I wish you guys could have seen my website when I first launched it. I created it myself and oh my gosh, it was so bad. So bad. I can't even put it into words. It was so bad. And over time, I've just learned what I like. I've learned, I've taken inspiration from other people. I've taken inspiration from professionals. I've been able to put that towards my business and grow it. If I would have waited until I had everything perfect, it wouldn't even be up and running now. You wouldn't be listening to me right now. We'd still be in the garage working on it. It wouldn't be up. But yeah, having bad days is so real. And one thing that I notice is I fall into dark days when I'm comparing my business to other people. And there's one thing that has really, really helped me is understanding that they're most likely just as lost as you. Social media is so strange to me because you want to put your best foot forward, which is understandable. But at the same time, we all go through the same struggles, and especially as entrepreneurs, it's a lot. Having that mental strength and I can't remember the word, just the strength to put aside your personal stuff to get work done is strong, and it takes a lot. But understanding that even though you see this perfect business on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or just online or YouTube or whatever, know that they have bad days too. Understand that they are more than likely just as lost as you are. And for me, okay, this is kind of going back to what I was saying about launch days and how it can be really discouraging if you launch something and it doesn't do very well. I honestly could probably do a whole episode on that in itself and talking more about that, because trust me, I've had my experiences of picking out clothing items that I've been like, wow, okay, this is gonna be a bestseller. This is the cutest thing ever. I'm gonna buy a bunch of it, and I don't sell a single one. I've been there, but listen, every business has their flops, but those flops are what shape your wins. I know, what is this? Poetic? Oh my gosh. But you learn so much from those failures. And there are those quotes that are like, it's not a mistake, it was a lesson. And I think it's true. I think it's so true to apply to doing your own thing, whether you're on Instagram and, you posted a cute outfit picture and it just totally flopped, did not get the amount of likes that you wanted. I want you to understand that when that happens, it also might not be you. I know that might sound kind of crazy, but listen, social media has an algorithm that we're all fighting. We're all trying to work with the algorithm, but the algorithm's just not working with us. One thing, can we please bring back the order of Instagram posts? Whatever this algorithm is, I want to see things in the order that they are posted, please and thank you. Because it's just, I don't like it. I do not like it. But understand that if you have a bad launch, it might not be you. It might be just the posts were not on Instagram's good side today. The post was not on TikTok's good side. What I've noticed is with social media, and I'm going to talk about TikTok specifically because I know a lot of you guys are on TikTok too. I've noticed this for myself. I've noticed this on other people's TikTok accounts. It's always like one video does super good and then 5 videos after that, it just doesn't even add up to what that one video was. So it's really a hit or a miss. One thing that I can really emphasize on is posting consistently. And this is going to lead me into my next tip, which is tip number 4, and that is to automate as much as possible. I've said this before, and I will forever say this. Automating your routine, automating what you're doing helps so much. I use Flowdesk to automate my emails. I will have a link down below for you guys, as well as I use Tailwind to schedule my social media posts for Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, I believe. And I'll have a sign up link down below. You guys can save a little money with those codes. But automating it is so important, and staying consistent. I try to post, all right, buckle up guys, because this is a lot. I try to post on Woven's Instagram 2 times, maybe 3 times a day. I try to post on the Instagram story for Woven. I try to have at least 3 to 5 up there all times of day. All times I try to do, 2 posts in the morning, 2 posts at night, so that there's constantly Instagram stories on my business Instagram. I don't know about you, but I noticed that in my mind when I was scrolling through Instagram and trying to find accounts to follow, I was more likely to follow people if they had an active Instagram story, because I was just like I automatically assumed that this person was going to post a lot and active, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to follow. So that was something that I learned, and I started implementing that into my business. Now, I told you guys I'm trying to grow my personal Instagram. I'm trying to, do more on that. So posting every single day, because I did go through and archive a bunch of old photos, refresh, rebrand, all of that stuff. I now post every single day until I can get a consistent feed. From there, I'll decide maybe I post every day, every other day, whatever it is. I think having a schedule and staying consistent really does help with the algorithm. So I guess if we're going to talk about launch failures and going through that, a little tip I have, and I've been hearing this a lot on TikTok, and it's so true. Using social media to your advantage is so big. So even if I'm telling you guys we're going to be doing a rebrand or whatever, hopefully, most likely, I don't know, we'll see, in February, get on social media and talk about it. If you have a idea, if you're going to start a photography business, start talking about it now. You might not even have your camera, but if you can build up a social media, build up a brand, tell people about yourself, create that connection, engage with potential customers, engage with potential people who might be interested in your product or what you're offering. You don't have to have everything in place. It's like what I said before. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just getting started is the biggest thing. Getting started is the most difficult thing, but it will help you flow a little bit more. And also, if it's your first time on social media or doing something like this, it gives you time to get a little bit comfortable with it, because it's really intimidating. Starting a business Instagram, you don't want to be annoying. You don't want to be too, salesy. You don't want to be, annoying, I guess, is the main gist of it. But if you're able to get that practice in before you launch, it helps so much. As well as if people are able to build a connection with you at the beginning, I would say they're more likely to support you and support your brand and support your idea if they're able to have that emotional connection, personal connection with you in the beginning. And all of this leads me to my next tip, which is tip number 5, get on social media. It's normally free advertising. Also, it's paid advertising, which is really good and really, really useful if you're looking to grow even more and start investing in advertising. But overall, free advertising. And it's a great way to build connections and build personal connections, which is huge if you are a smaller business starting out. I'm just going to go on a little rant. This just hit me. I'm going to explain why I don't like the saying small business. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but this is the way I think about it. I know that saying small business is very catchy. It's very appealing right now. But for me personally, I don't like to call other people's businesses, nor my own, or anything, a small business. Whenever I hear small business, I automatically just go, I'm learning about manifesting. I'm learning about all of that. So when you say something over and over again, I feel like just by saying small business, it's almost like you don't want it to grow or you aren't allowing it to grow. So I really don't like the saying small business. It's also really hard of where do you cut off small business? Where do you turn, like what is the line that is crossed when you cross over small business to regular business? There is no line. There is no level of success. There's no amount of money that you're at that you automatically are a regular business. And I'm doing that with air quotes, regular business. So yeah, I don't really like to go with saying that I'm a small business or saying that you're a small business or saying that whatever. I think it's appealing on social media, but I try not to use it in my everyday talk. It's just something with me. But anyway, tip number 5, get on social media. So important. So what I was saying about free advertising, and it's a great way to grow. TikTok. I know I keep saying it a lot. Honestly, TikTok, sponsor me. But TikTok has grown so many businesses. If I could tell you guys how many TikToks I see go viral and then their businesses, blow up. I don't believe that just because you go viral, though, you're going to be successful. I think that is a false idea that a lot of people have of, oh, if my business goes viral, if I get a video that gets 10 million views, I'm going to be so successful. It's not always true. I saw a TikTok that it was like this girl that had a video get a bunch of views and she was like, I had no sales. People must have thought that like I was super, successful all of a sudden. But just because you get a lot of views doesn't mean that those are equaling sales or money or profit or anything like that. It's really difficult. However, it does help if you have a video go viral, no matter what. I mean, it helps you. It helps you get that exposure. But what I'm saying is just because you see a video go viral doesn't mean that there's money in someone's pocket because of it. It just means that they got exposure, which is a great thing. I think we all want to go viral. I think we all want to have that moment of looking and seeing those numbers. But again, for long term, it's more sustainable to have those views kind of spread out, have people building that personal connection with you while you grow too. I think that is such a cool thing when you have followers kind of go with you through the different phases and see the growth and are able to grow with you. I think it's super, super important. Oh my gosh, we need another water break. But yeah, wrapping it back around, social media, if you are going to launch, if you're going to rebrand, if you're going to even announce, all right, you have a photography business, you're having Christmas mini sessions, whatever it is, hype it up. Hype is the biggest, the biggest tip I can share you guys. I guess this is tip number 5, build the hype. It's so true though. If you're able to get people excited, if you're able to show your excitement about what you are doing, about what you are about to launch or what you're about to do, build the hype, but also add in a little razzle dazzle of mystery. There is nothing more appealing than when I see brands do their hype. They hype it up, they throw something out there, they get their followers excited, but then they have a little bit of mystery that nobody knows exactly what it's going to be, but they know that something's happening. Now, if you're smart enough, you noticed I did that in this episode, actually. You remember at the beginning when I was telling you that I'm doing a rebrand and doing something exciting and scary, and I don't know if it's really gonna work. I don't know if it's really gonna happen, but I gave you guys a date, as in, end of January, February kind of deal. That is called building the hype. I'm showing you guys what I'm doing. But see, I just did it in this episode. I'm building the hype for something in the future that honestly could be a total flop. I hope it's not, but it could be a total flop. It might make a good podcast episode. Oh my gosh, she cries in her sleep. But yeah, building the hype is so important. I know it sounds so stupid, but it's so true. Get on social media, build the hype, add a little bit of mystery in there. It's the perfect mixture for a successful launch, but also we also have those flop launches. All right, let's go back through the tips if you guys were taking notes. Tip number 1 was to save money when starting. Try to have a plan together, know your numbers. Tip number 2 was to get a schedule down. Some sort of routine really, really does help, even if it's super basic. Tip number 3 was don't quit or don't decide to quit just because of a bad day. We're all going to have bad days, but don't let it decide the future of your business. Always say, think about something for a while, and if it still has that same excitement that it did at the beginning, think about it and maybe go for it. And then tip number 4 is automate as much as possible. Again, I will have the sign up link for Flowdesk for emails, aesthetic emails. They're beautiful, as well as Tailwind to help schedule your social media posts. Tip number 5 was to get on social media. If you're not on social media, you need to. If you have a business, if you're looking to grow your business, if you're looking to grow your personal brand, whatever it is, I really recommend get on social media, and honestly, as many platforms as possible. I really recommend Instagram and TikTok, but depending on what you're doing, Facebook might be a really good route to add. I think you should ultimately have them all, but I think the most important, or the ones that I have noticed for my personal business, has been Instagram, TikTok, and so far the podcast. So thank you guys for listening. But that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast, episode 3. Oh my goodness. If you guys want to have a say in what the podcast episodes are, I do a bunch of, podcast polls, I guess is the correct term, on my Instagram story. So again, follow me on Instagram at It's Emily Leah. But I also have been doing them on TikTok. So you can follow my business TikTok, which is at Woven Co Boutique on TikTok, and we do them all over there. But again, all of the links, all of the products mentioned will be linked down below for you guys to easily sign up, but also check out the favorites and all of that. But thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.